Welcome again, guys. This is part 2 of the Arduino RTC timer. Okay, actually part 1 was a bit too long, more than expected, so as I decided to make 2 parts. So in part 1 we already learned how to process the timer data by recording the stop and the start time and minus them, and also we have learned how to solve the negative issue, okay, in the timer value. So today we will learn how to process the data or the time that we got not from the RTC but from the data sheet or online, whereby this data the data type will come into a string, not in integer, to easy process. Okay, so then we have to chop these strings, identify which is the minute, second, hour, days, etc., and which one is the characters, and then we have to process them, convert them to integer, process them, then concatenate them back again as a normal string and send them back to the server or display them or whatever. Okay, so we will learn today about this thing. So stay with me. So from here we can see, again, we use these 2 libraries, okay, to communicate with the RTC module. Also, we connect the push button on pin number 2, and also I need 2 flags and 1 start. This start, it will be used to trigger the start or the stop timing for the timer. And if you notice here, instead of the 2 arrays I use in part 1, here I use 2 strings, start string and stop string, to store my data. Here we will learn how to process our date and time as strings. Okay, and here I define the RTC object. Okay, in the setup, just initialize the serial monitor with 9600 baud rate. This one we will use to display our information on the COM port, and also I initialize the input button or the button as an input with pull up, whereby here we use the internal pull up resistor instead of the external. We want to use external. As we saw before, we just connect the button with the small filters to the ground, and the pull up resistor we just enable the internal one. Okay, here we check if the RTC is begun already. If it's begun, then it will bypass this block. Otherwise, if something wrong with the RTC or cannot be find the module, it will print this on the serial monitor that we cannot find the RTC module. At the same time, we'll stuck here while 1. So if we come to this block, we need to physically reset the Arduino or the MCU, unless we can get it out of this block, because this loop here will block the execution of the code if it executed once. After this, we'll check if we can communicate with the RTC. If it's on and can be communicated, then it will display. If cannot be run and we cannot communicate with the RTC, it will display this that the RTC is not running. Otherwise, it will just bypass. And then last thing in the setup is to update the date and time to the RTC from our laptop or our computer. Okay, it will take the current date and time and update it to the RTC, the current date and time from the laptop. Okay, that's all for the setup function. Now we come to the loop. Okay, again, for the loop, before we go into details, just fast explain about the idea, same as the part 1. This one, if you remember, in part 1. Okay, in part 1 we said that, let's delete this, we delete this, delete this, delete this. I'm not going to be talking this in details later. So we just store the start time when we press the button first. Then we press the second time, it will store the stop time, and then we calculate the elapsed time is the stop minus the start time. But in this time, before for part 1, we define this as integer. integer array. This one also has integer. However, in this part, we are not using integer anymore. We use string. Okay, these all are string. Even the elapsed time also in string. However, we have to take this string, we convert it back to integer, we do the process, then we convert it back to string again in order to save it into the Excel sheet or even upload to the cloud. Okay, so again in the loop, same as part 1, we check the status of the button by using the digital read function. And since it's active low, or since it's already been tied to the VCC by using the input pull up resistors mean the normal state of the pin, it will be high unless you press, it will be 0. That's why if not, button 2 is mean this one if false, and flag is false because flag already declared as false. So when you press, all these conditions will be true. Then the flag will be 1. So we broke this condition, so it will not be executed more than 1. And also we toggle the start. Toggle the starts mean you convert the start from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 0. Just change the state or the start. Okay? Then if we release the button, again, as we said, if we release the button and since there's a pull-up resistor to the VCC, so the normal state of the pin will be high or 1. And also since we already changed the state of the flag to 1 here in the if condition, so this condition of the second if will be true, then it will reset the flag to 0. So this condition will be ready for the next press. So this one already true. If you press the button, will be true again. So true and true, true, then it will come to execute again. Okay, so this one is to execute the command that been changed the state of the start plus block the function, block the condition. This function or this code here, it will release the lock from the first condition. Okay, again this one will change the state of the start plus block or lock. This one will just release this lock. Okay, and then we register the now as the current date and time for the RTC, and then I use switch again to switch to explore the states of the start and as a two conditions, whether 0 or 1, and we use this 0 or 1 to start or stop the timer. But if you notice here, the value of the start is equal to 2, the initial value equal to 2. However, in the switch case, if you see here, if in the switch case I have only two cases, whether 0 or 1, but I set the start equal to 2, which is none of these. Why? Because as you know, for the switch case, we don't have only the cases, we have something called the default. Okay, the default is mean if your value inside the variable, let's say, which is the start, if the value doesn't match with any of the cases, will come to the default. And since I set the start equal to 2, which is not match of any of the cases, I guess only whether it's 0 or 1, therefore directly will come to the default. In the default, I just want to display a statement that please press to start, press the button to start timing. But however, if you only put this comment here, this one will be continuously printed on the serial monitor. To block it and to make it run only once, again, I use the same condition, or the same variable, okay, but I change the data or change the value of the variable. Instead of 2, I make it 3. because the default, it will take the start value, which is 2, which is not same as case 1, not same as case 2, then come to the default. In the default, I'll check if the start equal to 2. First thing, I will just change it to any value, let's say 3, 4, 5. Then I'll bring this. Then when it run again for the second cycle of the code, when it come to the default, it will check whether start equal to 2. But since we make it 3, so this will not be executed again. Hence will be executed for once. Okay? After that, we expect the user to press the button. When the user press the button again, as we said before, we'll come to this function. It will check whether the digital read function return 0 and the flag is already 0. So 2 conditions true, then it will block the condition by setting the flag to 1, and also it will toggle the start value. And since the start value at the last time inside the default we set it to 3, this means high, this comment will be changed to 0. Not start equal to 0, because start already high, so it will be low. If it's already low, then the new state will be high. Or it's already 0, the new state will be 1. So since it's 3 considered as high, so then the not high equal to low or equal to 0. So now start, after the user press the button, the start will be equal to 0. Okay? So now start equal to 0, we come again to switch. 0 is the first case inside the switch. Again, we will check the function should be false. If not, we will check the flag. If not, flag 2, which is true, because I already declare the flag equal to 0 somewhere here. Here it is. Okay, flag 2 equal to 0. And since this one equal to 0, so this condition is true, then it will come here. First, it will display the timer has been started, and then it will start to store the time, date and time inside the string. Okay, so first of all, we will store the day by using this, but since, as we said before, the now.day is an integer, so we need to convert it into string. Okay, this is the way we convert integer to string, and then we add it to the string variable. Then we concatenate with another special character plus slash, and then the same string plus equal month plus slash. Then we come for the year, then we add hash. It's just special character to spread the year, month, and the day. Then plus equal, we concatenate also with the string of the hour, minute, second, etc. Okay. Then at the end we display the string, the start string. We display this because we want to show the user your timer started at this time. Okay. Then the delay, and here I block this condition. We'll make this one high. If not high, this means false. Since the condition is false, so this one will be executed only once, will be blocked. But this one will be continuously executing by displaying the current time, date and time. Why? Because it's still inside the case 0, so start is still 0, but only this, the storing, because I don't need to store every now and then. I want to store only the first time the user press the button, and then only to display the current time, to display the progress of the time. Okay, and then when the user choose to stop timing, definitely will press the button again. When I press the button again, the start will be toggle again. So from 0, not 0 is 1 or high. When 1, then we will jump to the second case, which is case start equal to 1. And since here I already changed the flag to high, So, and here if flag 2, so this condition is true because flag 2 already high at this state, so it will display these characters just to show some to display these characters on the serial. Then it will display that the timer is stopped at, and same goes here, same as the starting string. For the stop string, it will stop the current time, date and time. Also, we convert the day into string that we store in the string. We concatenate with the slash, and also with the string of the month, year, with all the special character until the second. Then we display the stop timer date, which is the stop string. So until here, okay, we have these two variables. We have the starting time and the stop time. So the left is just to calculate this. The elapsed time equal to stop minus start. Okay, and here also display that the period, the elapsed period, is equal to day, month, year, blah blah. This all just to show the user how to do it. And then here I define a function, so you can learn how to use function in the Arduino. This function, I name it as a period calculator, and I send to this function two parameters: start string and stop string. Okay, this function, later we will see it. It takes two parameters. It will take these two parameters, calculate the period, and send back to us the period of these two times or two dates. And then I change the state of the flag to low to release to this. When I change to low, first I will block this. I'll block this condition because this one will be false, and also to release this. So the user, when press again for the next time, this one will be released. Okay, and this one for the default we already explained. Now we come to the period calculator function. Please focus with me. This is the most important part in the work. Okay, so in this function, for sure it will return string, because I say here I will not use integers anymore. I want to learn how to use and process all your time in the string. And so it will return string as well, so you can directly store it or send it into the Excel sheet, cloud, or whatever you want to send. This is the name of the function, period calculator, and this is the two parameter that it takes, two string parameters. Okay, here are the variable I need is the start date, start time, stop date, and stop time, and the result, all string. And also I need sub variable as integer, start date split of 3, start time split, and also stop date split, stop time split, duration date, duration time split, counter, and last index. Okay, these are all the variables that I need. So since I have these two strings, it come to me here, which is the start and stop. First thing, I will split the date and time from the start string. I'll take the start string, I split the the date part from the time, because if you know, the string will be like this. For example, we start with day. Let's say now is 2 of August 2020. Then we have hash, and time is 10:30, and let's say 10 seconds. Okay, our date will be like this. So this part is the date, and this part is the time. So now I'm searching for this character, which is the hash, and I separating the string into two substrings. Okay, this code, if you see, for I equal to 0 until I less than the string length, the start dot length. Start.length is mean this, the star string length. You see how many characters, then it will be stopped. The I will be stopped until the full length of this string, I++. Okay, here I'm checking each individual character inside the string by using substring. Okay, substring of I until I+1. I start from 0 until 0 plus 1, which is only 1. It will check if equal to hash. Whenever we will find equal to hash, from 0 to I, for example, it will find hash here from index 0. Actually, it's not index, we can say from location 0 or from character 0 until I, which is here. It will store into one string, which is the start date. Then from I+1 until the end, it will store in the start time by using these two commands. Okay, so after we execute these, we expect that the start date is equal to now this. Okay, and the start time is equal to this one. Okay, guys, nice. So now we split the date and time based on the hash special character, and this one for sure it can be changed. Whatever you have the separator between the date and time, you can just put here. For example, if you have like dot, comma, slash, question mark, whatever, but since here we have a hash, we maintain hash. Okay, now we split the date details of the star string, because now the star string, the date star string, which is here. Okay, this is the date star string. So now we split these details, the details of this. If you know what is the special character that spread the details of the date, it's the slash. So that's why again we do the same thing what we done before. We start to loop from 0 until the start date, which is the same string dot length to the length of this string, I++. Then we now searching for the slash. If we found the slash, here is a bit tricky. Actually, you have to focus more, because the first function we wrote is just two string. It will chop or divide the string into two, but here might be more than two or more than even one. So we have to write some more comments. After I check if there is the special character is exist or no in the current position. Okay, first I will prepare my start data split of counter. Okay, counters start from 0. This is the counter. Okay, equal to start to date dot substring. This is the place that we're using it to scan for the slash of last index of I, because now we are not only have, because here we have only two index. From here 0, for sure this start from 0 and to here, which is I, then I+1 to jump to here until the end. But now we cannot use only I+1 or 0 to I, then I+1 until the end, because here we have example only here. Then from here I+1 to I don't know where, maybe I+2 or I+3, depend, sometime 8, sometime 10, 10, I mean I+1, I+2. So that's why I use the last index, and the last index it will be increased one by one whatever this function is being executed. Okay, so I'll take the start to date with a substring of last index of I, last index and the I to the I, and I convert it to integer and I store it into here. Okay, so once I found, let's say now it start with 2 for sure not equal to this, so it will jump to the second iteration where the I will equal to 1. 1 will come to here. Yes, it's match already with the slash. Then we'll come to take a start date split of 0 equal to start date dot substring of last index, if you can see from here, 0 also. So of 0 to I. So from 0 until I, which is 1, from 0 to 1, this is from 0 to 1, convert it to integer and store it into here. So start date split of 0 equal to 2 now. This one will be stored into start date split of 0 because the counter is equal to 0. Then last index will be same as I plus 1 because here is the I is already 1, so plus 1 will be 2. So next time will be come to here, and counter plus only will be increased by 1 because this one just the index for the array. Then again for the next iteration I will become 1, so I become 2, will come to here, 8 doesn't equal to slash, skip, go to the next iteration, I become 3, come to here, yes, is matched. Since it matched, we'll come to here again. Counter already increased by 1, now start date split of 1 equal to all this, but last index, if you remember here, it was I plus 1. For this one, it was already 1, I plus 1, 2, so this one will be 2 until I. I here, if you remember, is 3, so from 2 to 3, we'll take 8. 8 will be converted to integer and stored into the counter, or the start date of the counter, which is 1. Start date of 1 will store 8 and etc. until reach to 2020. Very easy, but you have to focus with it. Okay, and at the end, because this one it will not be finished, it will keep taking a lot of spaces at the end. We always check if the I is equal to start date dot length minus 1. This means we already reached to the last digit or the last place inside the string. We just take the counter, take the start date, split the same array of the last counter, and we store the last one. It's just like we close this the last digit of the string, and then we reset our counter because this one we use the same technique, exactly same for the rest of the strings. So we need to reset the counter and the last index. Now we come to split the time. Just now we split the date. Now we split time. Again, exactly same. Here. Okay, start time dot split. Here the time details, which is the 10, 30, and 10. Okay, by using this exactly the same, we take the start time length, we loop the I from 0 until the length, and increase by 1 with every iteration. And you see here what's the special character between the detail of the time is the colon in between. So we put this as our identifier, the one we are searching for. And then if we find, we just convert to integer and store in that counter plus the index, blah, blah, blah. And this also same. When we reach to the end, we just close the string. And also same by resetting the last index and the counter, preparing for the next function or the next code. Until here, we have finished the start date and time splitting. We split all the start time and also the start date. Now we come to the stop details. Okay, for the stop details again, let's take the same example here. For example, this is the stop. Okay, but now let's say we stop after 10 minutes. So this will be 40 and 10 second 20. Okay, so exactly same. We are splitting first the date and time. So it means we're splitting like this. Okay, so now the stop date, stop date is equal to this, and the the stop time equal to this one. Okay, so this is the stop date and stop time. We already chopped them here in this place into two substrings, time and date. And here, exactly same what we have done with the start, we will redo with the stop. Now we come and take the stop date string, this one, and we calculate the details, or we convert. Let's say actually we haven't calculated, now we're just converting, haven't reached to any calculating yet. We take the date, okay, we search for the slash, and we take the substring for the 2, 8 and 2020. Okay, and then same goes to the stop time. Here is the time detail for the stop string. Okay, we take the stop string, but here we search again, as we said before, we search for the colon, and also whenever we find, we chop it to store the 10, 40 and 20 second, and also to close the string, reset, and here is the calculator. If you remember in the first part, we said there are two solutions, or actually three solutions for this, either using the function, the one we say, which is the time span, or we actually, let's explain to you what is the issue we might face. Okay, let's say here we have the start time and stop time. Let's say start time, let's say 2 p.m. with 10 minutes and 55 seconds, and you stop at 2 p.m. 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Okay, if you simply do this, what is the result will be? The result will be 0 hour, 1 minute, and how many seconds from here? Will be minus 45 seconds. Okay, this is wrong. Why? Because we don't have minus first, plus this one actually is not minus 45. So how to solve it? As we said before, there are three solutions. Either you take all this time and convert all into second. We take the hour, minute, all to second, and this one also all to second. Then we minus the second of the stop minus the start second. Then we convert back to hours, minute, and second. Or we use the time span function that we explained last time in the last video. Or as we said here, we search whenever we face a minus value, we add 60. For example, here we have a minus value here, so we will add 60. So this one, we add 60 to here, plus 60. So the result will be 0, 1 minute, minus 45 plus 60 will be equal to 15 seconds. Then we minus 1 from the previous location, which is the minute. This one minus 1. Then the result will be 0, 0, 15 seconds, which is correct what we have here. 15 seconds only. Okay, we can use this. This is what we are using here. Okay, after we convert all into integer, we convert all the data into integer. Now, all data as integer arrays. Okay, so here I loop from 0 to 3 or less than 3 of I. Then I calculate the split of date and the duration times split of I. Again, I minus stop of date and stop of time minus the start. Then actually I'm not focusing on date, more focus on the time. Maybe the date I'll keep for you. You can try later and let me know if you've done already. From the time, I check if the current calculation, if the current one of I, the duration, time, the split, the result, if it's less than 0, meaning minus, I plus 60 to that current element of the array. Then I go to the previous one, which is I minus 1, I minus 1 from that one, which I expect is the minute or maybe the hour or whatever. Okay, so here I go to the current one. Which one? For example, now I reach to the second position. We got minus. I directly here add 60. Then on the second comment, I go to the minus 1 to the location of I minus 1, which is the minute here. This is of I minus 1, I minus 2. Of I minus plus 60, I minus 1, I add 1. Sorry, I deduct 1, which is here. That's all. Then after I finish, enter here, all my results are in integer because I convert them here all to integer. If you see here, all to integer, integer to integer. So here for sure, when I process them now, I'm processing integers, numbers. So I have to send them back or convert them back to strings. So I define my result as a string. Then I took the string of the duration, date, split of 0. Then I add slash. Plus I concatenate with the duration split of 1, 2, 3, etc. Then I add this one actually for the date and this 3 for the time, because I have 3 dates, 3 time, which 3 date for the year, month and the day, 3 time for the hours, minutes and the second. Then I return the result. This is the result that will be returned to where? To the main code, which is here. To this code, we call the function here, then it will return the result here, then it will be printed out on the screen. Okay? And for this one actually is good to know here. In C overall, and Arduino, actually because Arduino is based on C, the function, it won't return more than one variable. Whenever it's integer or string, it won't return more than one, only one. So that's why also I convert all of the result, all of my result into, actually I can return, let's say, date string and the time string, but cannot. This function always return only one, cannot return more than one. But for your information, if you want to return more than one, you can use a general variable. For example, here you define 2 strings exactly. For example, here you define 2 strings. Okay, as a general, so not general, as a global variable, and this variable will be updated inside the function here. You update it here. Maybe later I will make some video on this. You make a global variable here. You update it inside the function, then you read it inside your code. Or maybe this function just to trigger a flag that, okay, the variable is already updated. So when the flag is released, then your main code will go to read the variable. Okay, this is just for your information. So again, one more very fast. For this code, we need these 2 libraries to communicate with the RTC button for the input on pin number 2, 2 flags and start to toggle for start and stop, and also 2 strings. RTC, here I initialize the UIRT COM port. Pin mode, I declare the button as an input will pull up. Here I check whether the RTC is functioning or not, running or not. Update the time from the computer to the RTC, and in the loop, first of all, I will check the state of the button to toggle the start, and also release the lock after the button's been released. Okay, and then I will check the condition of the start, whether it's 0, I will start timing. If 1, I stop timing. Okay, and at the same time I will store here. If you see, I store the integer into a string. I convert the integer to string and store it into the string. For your case, if you work with if you take the data from the Excel sheet or from online, no need this code actually. You directly take the string, just this string equal to, for example, you read from the Excel sheet, or you take this string equal to whatever variable you download from the website. So no need to do this to string anymore, since your data type already string. But for me, because the RTC return integer, so I have to convert to string and store into string. Okay, same goes to the stop, and here is the default. It will be shown the user press. Then here we're calling the function, which is here. Again, the function needs this variable, needs strings and also sub integers for the process, for data processing. First of all, I will split the date and time for the start, and here I'll split the date and time for the stop. Okay, then for both date and time, I will go into the details by searching. For example, for the date, I'll search for the slash, and for time, I'll search for semicolon, store in the arrays. Then at the end of the day, I come here to calculate the normal duration, or the timer's duration, by taking the stop minus start. But again, we face the negative issue. We solve it by this code, by checking whenever we find a negative value, we plus 60 to that value and minus 1 from the previous one, or previous occasion. Then we convert back into string again, because we know that this function in C will not return more than 1. So I have to convert all back 1 to 1 string and return back the result, which is the 1 string. Or later I'll teach you how to do different variable will be updated inside the function. Okay, and this one will be displayed here, the period calculator. Okay, so let's upload and check our code. Okay, compiling, done, uploading now. Okay, here we go. So now, when I press here, it will ask you, please press to start. Why? Because now the start value, the one we have declared here, is equal to 2. Okay, this one equal to 2. So when this one equal to 2, for sure, all the cases inside the break will not be executed. They will go to the default and execute this one. Okay, when execute this, we'll come to display, please press to start, change the start value to 3, then it will lock, because start not equal to 2 anymore. So even the default is blocked now. That's why we can see display only for once. Then when we press now, and now I'm pressing the button, here we go, it starts counting. Okay, it's executing here. When you press, this one will be start. It will be toggle from high to low, or 1 to 0. Then it becomes 0, we'll come here. When k is equal to 0, again, we'll store the data here. Then it will continuously display the date and time here, which is what happened now. Okay, now when I press stop, I stop it, then it will come to here. It will display this, timer stop, add, store the stop timer, the stop date and time. Okay, then it will be display again here, CL print display, the one we have concatenate and store up there, which is this one. Okay, then the time period is, which is here, and also the day, month, year. Then I call this function. This function again will take 2 strings, the start and the stop. We send it back here. It will chop, take the calculation, do the the checking if there's a minus plus, then convert back to integer, the integer to string, then it will take the result, send back to here, send back to this function, and at the end display our elapsed time. So I start again, I press again, it started. Okay, 4, 5, 6. So you can see here it's start again. When I press again, this one again changed from 1 to 0, 0 to 1. So now we can check whether our code is correct of correcting the negative value of the second. Okay, by maybe just wait until it's become around 50 seconds, then it will be triggered again. 40, 51. Okay. Okay, so now 50, let's stop. Now we start again. Okay, now 51 seconds. So we will stop around maybe 5 seconds. Then we shouldn't see any minus. If we see minus, I mean our code is still not correct. Okay, 4, 5. Okay, stop. Here we go. 14 seconds only, without minus, without extra minutes. Okay, guys. So thank you very much. With this, we are ending our tutorial for this time, and we have learned in these two parts how to calculate the elapsed time. Okay, in two methods. First, if you have pure integer data. Second, if you have a string that you imported from the Excel sheet or online IoT applications. And also we have solved the negative issue for the elapsed time by 3 methods. Okay, first is to convert all to second and calculate the duration, then you convert back to minute, hour, second. Second is to use the function. And the third one is to search for the minus value, add 60 and -1 from the previous value. Okay, so we are finished here. Thank you very much for your attention, and please leave me a comment if you have any question. I'll see you soon for the next tutorial. Thank you.